Hello and welcome to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung Country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network. Fierce FM. I want to honour the traditional owners of the lands where you are living. They took care of these lands for thousands and thousands of years and then shared this land with us at great cost to their own lives. I want to thank them for the care they have given and continue to give, to sit on the earth, listen and care for country. I also want to thank the fairies and crones who came before us in history to fight for our human right to love fiercely. I'm sitting on this beautiful balcony with beautiful artworks all around me because of Janet Marshall, an incredible artist, with her gorgeous partner, Emily Finch, who works for Ballina Council and is a gender activist. Hello there! Thank you so much for coming on to Fierce, and really excited to chat to you. How long have you two been together now?
Oh, 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So the 3-year point.
So we're going to chat today a little bit about you two and your journey together, because it's been big, because Emily, you've transitioned in this relationship.
I did indeed. It's a very long road, a road fraught with all sorts of trauma and learning. I've grown to move to this place where I am a keen activist for many, many different things. I've learnt that basically everyone has their own journey and their own identity. There's no correct answer to how anyone identifies themselves. I am a female. I met Janet and we connected before I had a physical transformation, but my general transition was underway. That all happened at work as well. And then after everyone was advised, I showed up as a female. And that was it. And that's the way it's been ever since.
Do people accept you as a woman like that? Or did you have a lot of teaching, explaining, helping them to accept you?
Everyone, my psychologist said that when you transition, everyone around you has to transition as well in their own way. So they transition from knowing you as to who they think you are, and then they suddenly have to transition to knowing you as you are identifying and expressing yourself. Generally, it's good. I rarely have any trouble. Sometimes there's a little bit of misgendering occurs. I correct them.
How about for you, Janet?
Emily was already female, but she hadn't done the physical transition yet.
Yeah. Did you go to Thailand with Emily to support them with all that transitioning?
No, I didn't go. We'd only met a few weeks before that, and on a 40-degree Channon Market day, which was like crazy. Then we met up for beautiful coffee for like a couple of hours after. It was like, oh my God, this person is just incredible. I was just so in awe of your strength of character. And we stayed in touch. I was heading overseas to Vietnam at the same time, and we had some communication from Thailand to Vietnam. And you got back and hung out for a while together, and you were going out quite soon after you came back from Thailand.
Yes, very quickly.
So I accompanied you.
Yeah.
So it was quite something because
I remember.
You had quite a bit of anxiety. Just to go out.
Yeah, it's a big thing for a trans person to go out into the world as their true self. Go out there and just express yourself exactly how you want to express yourself. And it's a real challenge because you have to overcome all the barriers of your societal conditioning and programming, people's expectations, their responses to you. Gender diverse and transgender people can be very vulnerable, prone to psychological impact from people's reactions to them, visually and verbally. It can really set someone way back on their transition. I describe myself, I am a transgender female, but I am a female. I love being referred to as she and her. It fits perfectly with me. Even they, it's all respectful. I get mate a bit. If they say fella, I go, sorry, I'm not a fella. I'm a woman. But you didn't know that, so I know you didn't mean anything by that. So you let people off a little bit and you teach them and you help them along with learning all about yourself.
We rarely get any negative reactions,
Yeah,
apart from staring.
Yeah, staring is it's something that you learn to deal with. The thing that gave me the most power to go out as myself was to firstly love and accept myself totally. So that allowed me to go out into the world knowing I'm not looking for love and acceptance. I've already got it. It's already there. I am who I am. I don't need any explanations. I don't need anyone to question or have an opinion about my gender. I love people. I love communicating with them.
And it's been quite a journey for you to get to that place.
It's a huge journey to get to that.
Feeling in your power out in public.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, it's every day stepping out.
So, listeners, when I'm walking at the Shannon Market where Janet sells her beautiful pottery and where they met, and I'm going around Shannon Market and then I see Emily walking around Shannon Market, and it's quite a beautiful thing to see. Emily stands out. Emily is amazing.
Why, thank you, Peter. That's lovely.
You always take such care in how you dress, and you do always look amazing.
I love the expression. I love to be able to express myself in clothing and makeup, and I fundamentally know that is just purely a form of expression. I'm just an energetic being doing my best. My activism is really around supporting other people being in their pure expression of who they are, whether it be transgender and gender diverse groups, environmental, was involved in the Black Lives Matter last weekend. All these sorts of things. I'm here to support people that need support, what I can do to help them.
Janet, do you stand out as well? At the market, you sort of hide behind all the plants. You blend into the crowd when you're by yourself walking around Shannon Market. But when you're with Emily on Emily's arm, you're much more visible. So I'd love to hear, how has that been for you?
I've actually always hidden a little bit my whole life. Sure, when I'm out by myself, I just blend in. So I'm used to that reality. Then when I'm on Emily's arm, I remember the first time that we actually went out of our little Lismore area here. We went to Byron Bay, and the last experience Emily had in Byron Bay wasn't a good one. So, she was quite anxious, and we were just newly together, and I said, shall we hold hands?
Yes. We held hands.
So we held hands and we walked through the park and, along the beach.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, I did feel quite exposed. I mean, we just got used to that so quickly. And now, honestly, when we're out, I might notice some people staring, and then I just remember actually, oh yeah, that's right, that's why. But we're so comfortable just being however we want to be in public now, aren't we?
Yeah, most of those battles to being visible and being an activist and using your voice in public and speaking up your truth, the barriers are nearly always in here. And once you've overcome those, then you're in your power, and then you can support what you need to support. Doesn't mean you're not going to have a scary occurrence at some point, but just day to day, get out there and be yourself.
Around the world at the moment, there's Black Lives Matter, you just mentioned. The life expectancy of a black trans woman is 35 years old. I wondered if you had any thoughts on that.
There is a huge amount of trauma within the African American populations as there is within the Australian Aboriginal populations. The solution is addressing the fundamental problems in the society so that people feel like they're in their power and they feel respect for one another. And we need to support people and build them up, not break them down and make them feel bad. We all need respect and dignity. Whole community needs to address those. We all need to work on in supporting black and brown skinned friends and diverse minorities. Simple.
I guess the media is a big issue as far as helping this transition, this change, because a lot of people are scared because of what they've seen in films. For example, in Lismore, concerned about trans women using the female bathroom at the Women's Festival last year, which was surprising for Lismore for that to be happening. And their concerns were around having a male person in the women's bathroom, which isn't the case. And when I tried to explain to these friends that that's transphobia and actually the risk is for the trans women, not for the cis women, I don't seem to communicate it well, and then one person's defriended me because I called them transphobe. I'd love to hear what you would say and how you felt.
I was actually there when that occurred. What I'm seeing in people is fundamental fear. I had this when I first came back from Thailand. Recently had surgery. A woman spoke to me, said, "Next time you use the male toilet." And I said, "Well, I don't think so. That's not going to happen. I never have since I've identified as female." I said to her, "I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't abuse anyone before when I was a male, perceived to be a male, living the life of a male. I haven't hurt anyone or done anything in relation to those issues as a female. And I'm the same person, fundamentally. Same issues happening with J.K. Rowling at the moment. It's fear of the unknown."
People are always afraid of what they don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's only a fairly recent conversation, really, in general public, the whole transgender conversation. And everyone's learning, Even when we were first together and you had only just newly come into your female body, and we were both learning, both learning a lot.
Both learning.
And we're saying there needs to be new words created or something, it's just...
There needs to be a lot of compassion, even for people that don't understand and say crazy things that aren't based in reality. Before I realised my true identity, I knew nothing about transgender people. I knew virtually nothing about gender diversity.
Even the whole LGBTQI community, you had no exposure.
There was no exposure to that. My life was completely different. My life was primarily based around isolation because I didn't really know who I was. Now that I know who I am, and I express it that way, I connect with all these groups and all these people, and I understand an enormous amount. I've had to learn that about myself and my community. People think I'm not a woman. Well, that's their problem. It's not my problem. I am a woman, and there's nothing I need to justify. If someone identifies as a woman, or a trans woman, or a trans male, or gender diverse, that's who they are. Or non-binary, that's who they are. That's how they identify, and it is crystal clear. No one would enter into transition out of a whim. It's too traumatic, it's too painful, it's terrifying. Some have to deal with it for countless years of their lives, knowing who they are. So, compassion for these people, but they need to do their learning, and they need to basically find their own compassion and learn about people that are vulnerable.
Just have an open mind.
And
if we can all just...
And maybe develop an open mind.
Open mind and respect.
Yeah. How does somebody be in their fear of being hurt in a bathroom and also have an open mind?
It was pointed out to me by Janet. She could see that this woman that spoke to me about, next time you use the men's bathroom.
Some story behind
some form of story or possible abuse or something which has led her to that point. So there's always a backstory. They're not natural forms to be a racist or a homophobe or a transphobe or any of these things. They are learnt.
A Christian person getting their mind business from a religious organisation which is hating or shaming those who are sex positive.
Maybe for one thing you can't change them, but now, especially you, more me also, but if we come up against people that have these strong opinions, we just don't engage. No, because it's...
You can engage with the negative anywhere. There's negative wherever you look. You can find it. If you choose to engage with them, they may not change their opinion, and you've wasted some valuable time
Energy.
and energy, your own valuable energy, in trying to change someone that is their responsibility.
Well, they're not ready to change.
They're not ready to change yet, but if you grow the story of love and understanding and compassion for all people, that will overwhelm the negative. People will learn.
I love the idea of that, and you've got great faith in humans, which I admire. What about educated people, like feminists like Germaine Greer?
If there's an opinion that I shouldn't be in a certain woman's space because I may be a threat or something like that, that's a fear generated from another source, from a concept that they've grown to believe is a truth. It's not a truth. I'm either a threat or I'm not a threat. I am the person I am. Get to know me, understand me, and you'll know that I'm not a threat, or another transgender person isn't a threat.
Harry Potter actors are all speaking out in support of trans people. How does that make you feel?
It's wonderful.
yay.
They're going, okay, J.K. Rowling thinks this, we disagree, we fundamentally love and support our transgender friends, and they're growing the positive message and showing that it's all good. There's nothing wrong here. It's up to the people that have their opinions that are not based in fact or reality. They need to learn. But we're not going to do that. That's up to them. Grow the positive and it will overwhelm the negative. Parts of my activism is to support all women and gender equality.
Well, let's talk about misogyny. Me as a man, there's been lots of blind spots. I've learned a lot from my female friends.
Interesting subject.
It's a big learning. I've come from living the life of a male to embracing knowing that I'm a female and living that life. I've been amongst a male environment most of my life, in work, perhaps even in play. So I've been conditioned and socialised by a more masculine environment. It's about the learning. Everyone has the opportunity to learn if their behaviour is misogynistic towards women, and everyone must do that work.
Misogyny comes from all that male conditioning. This is thousands of years of conditioning, you know.
Yeah.
Starting to lift out of it a bit now. Emily having come from that very male reality, and it's very often the case for transgender women before they realise their true gender that they will excel in being very masculine. You were in your 50s, you know, so you had all these years of conditioning and living in that world.
Yeah.
It doesn't just disappear like that.
No.
So yeah, things will crop up constantly that I would have difficulty with, and I would have to point out very carefully, because you know she didn't want to be reminded. This comes from when you were a male, like wasn't easy to hear, but still I had to speak up for myself and what I needed or didn't like or
And it can be very subtle, or it can be overwhelmingly powerful. Some of the actions and behaviours of males. There's a huge amount of subtleties where jokes and little comments here and there and things which are just sort of giggled at, laughed at or ignored can have a huge impact. And you don't realise until you start to understand the subtleties and the pain that those things cause. I've now been able to see a lot more clearly behaviour amongst males in relation to maintain or find a position in the pack, so to speak, and survive in a very male environment. So if it's a very male environment, very masculine, and it's difficult to show any form of feminist or feminine side, then it gets suppressed and it's not expressed. And there's a lot of blatant stuff there too that mean we push down people instead of lifting them up, push down women instead of lifting them up.
So this is where it comes down to everybody needing to do their work.
It's not just what they say and do, but what they ignore. That's a big one. You hear stuff and you let it ride or you turn away from it. You're actively supporting those things occurring. It's the same with racism. The stuff that goes on, if you turn away and ignore it, then you're promoting it. You're not fixing the problem.
I did that because of what happened at the Women's Festival, and now this whole group of people hate me.
Well, maybe
Not everyone's
not.
going to love you, Peter.
No. People will drop off, I'll tell you.
It doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't matter.
way.
Those that drop off should drop off.
If you're standing in your integrity, I mean, what are you going to do?
You'll pick up many more good people who have the same sort of values as you. You know, maybe it wasn't as subtle or as carefully put, but the heart's there.
Yeah, we can always look at how we
If the heart's there, they may well come back anyway. You know, when they see what is really meant. So it's up to them. I have been very fortunate to have wonderful support during my transition and my life ongoing with Janet. Having the support of someone, her helping me to see clearly and to have an open mind to understand new ways of knowing and learning has been vital, because it's been a completely different perspective on things that I had in my previous life. When you're on your own and you don't have that support, you're in the world that you're in with yourself. When you're in the world with someone else, as Janet has done many times, she's pointed to my behaviour or what I've said and what that means. I was conditioned in a different way, and I'm moving to acceptance of people, all people, and supporting and dignity and respect and all these sorts of things. To learn to do that, I need to be in my power. And I've learnt to address all my dark shadows, all my subtle things that impact on me being a calm, peaceful, loving human being.
Yeah, and she's up for it. Like,
I'm
it's
up
so
for
great.
it.
Like, I've never had a partner who's so willing to take responsibility.
It can be hard work, but there's huge payoffs. Huge payoffs in the end. Yeah.
I'd love to play your song. Do you guys have a song?
It's so funny because we discovered when we were both 19, because we're the same age, we both used to listen to Alan Parsons Project, which we love the music, but actually the lyrics are a little bit not so great.
Alan Parsons Project.
Return of a Friendly Card.
Just created some immediate connection with our past. Yeah, love it.
And we'd sing along.
Thank you so much for taking the time today to speak to us and going all over Australia and New Zealand on Fierce FM. And you're very fierce.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Can we have a kiss? Beautiful.
There are unsmiling faces and bright plastic chains, and a wheel in perpetual motion, and they follow the races and pay out the gains with no show of an outward emotion, and they think it will make their lives easier. For God knows up till now it's been hard, but the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. No, the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. There's a sign in the desert that lies to the west, where you can't tell the night from the sunrise. And not all the king's horses and all the king's men have prevented the fall of the unwise, for they think it will make their lives easier. And God knows up till now it's been hard, but the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. No, the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. But a pilgrim must follow in search of a shrine as he enters inside the cathedral. There are unsmiling faces in fetters and chains, on a wheel in perpetual motion, who belong to all races and answer all names with no show of an outward emotion. And they think it will make their lives easier, but the doorway before them is barred, and the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card. No, the game never ends when your whole world depends on the turn of a friendly card.
Thank you for listening to Fierce. This program celebrates the diversity of LGBTIQ identities and perspectives. Fierce is produced in Bundjalung Country at 2NCR Lismore and can also be heard on podcast at fiercefm.podbean.com and in New Zealand on Fresh FM, as well as all over Australia through the Community Radio Network.
Fierce FM on Spotify.